what should we do when we have an equation that has two square roots, just like this one? Square root of y plus 4 is equal to square root of y plus 20 and then minus 2. The strategy is we will isolate one of the square roots and then square both sides. Here, the square root of y plus 4, it's already isolated for us. So we can just go ahead and put this in the parentheses and then raise to a second power. Likewise, we do the same on the right hand side. Put that in the parentheses entirely and then raise to a second power. The left hand side is easy because this square and the square root will cancel each other out. And then we'll just end up with y plus 4. That's it. That's the result on the left hand side. But then the right hand side, it's not so easy because we have two things. The square root of y plus 20 and then we have the 2 right here. And they are subtracting. Therefore, we are going to write this down and put it down on the side somewhere, write it down twice, and then FOIL it out. I'll do that right here for you guys. So I put down square root of y plus 20, and then minus 2, and now I'll do it again because it's to the second power. Square root of y plus 20, and then minus 2. And then we'll just go ahead and distribute this out, multiply this out. So here we have square root of y plus 20 times square root of y plus 20. What do we get on that? The inside are the same. When you have square root times another square root, if both of them have the same inside, the answer is just pretty much the inside. And no more square root. You have y plus 20. That's it. It's the same idea as if I ask you, what's square root of 6.5 times square root of 6.5? This is not a hard question because if the inside are the same, when you multiply two square roots, the answer is just going to be the inside, the 6.5. Okay? And no more square root for the answer. And that's exactly what's happening right here. When you multiply these two, it's just the y plus 20 for the answer. That's it. Alright, and then we continue. We take the square root of 20 times negative 2, and that result will be minus 2 square root of y plus 20. And then we continue, we take the negative 2 times this square root of y plus 20, that's another minus 2 times square root of y plus 20. At the end, we take negative 2 times negative 2, which is going to be plus 4. And let's see if there's anything we combine like terms with before we put down the result over there. We see the y right here, but there's nothing else that has a y, so that's just pretty much by itself. I'll just put on the y. And then I would like to combine the square roots first. Okay, so you see that this is minus 2 times square root of y plus 20, and then we have another one right here, minus 2 square root of y plus 20. Both of them have the square root of y plus 20, so we get to combine the same terms. Negative 2, so that's minus 4. And then you keep the term square root of y plus 20. And also we have plus 20 here and plus 4. They're just regular number, and 20 plus 4, of course, that's plus 24. That will be the result. Okay? So I will put this down onto the right hand side right here. Y minus 4 square root of y plus 20, and then plus 24 at the end, just like this. As you can see, we started with two square root in the equation, and then we square both sides. Here, we still have an equation, but we only have one square root. And we are just going to follow the same strategy. We will try to isolate this square root and then square both sides again. So let's make that happen. So I want to isolate this square root on the right hand side. I don't want to have this y though. This is the positive y, that's minus y right here, so that the y and y cancel. But then I have to do the same thing on the left hand side. So that's minus y right here as well. But then this y and that y also cancels out, which is really nice, right? Alright, here we have plus 24. We don't want that. So that's minus 24 here, so that they cancel. And then I will also minus 24 on the left hand side. And now let's continue from here. This is 4 plus, positive 4 minus 24, which is what? Minus 20. And then this is equal to, this is negative 4. So be careful writing down the negative 4 times square root of y plus 20. This is what? This is negative 4 times square root of y plus 20. I want to get rid of this negative 4. Well, to do that, we can divide both sides by -4. That way, these two will cancel out. And then we will do the same thing on the left-hand side. And we work this out. -20 divided by -4 is what? The result for that will be +5. And then this will be square root of y plus 20 on the right-hand side. And now I isolate this square root on the right-hand side, and we just need to square root, we just need to square both sides. Take this raised to a second power, take this raised to a second power, and we know that the square and the square root cancels, and then we have y plus 20 right here by itself, just like that, right? And then I'll put down 5 squared, which is 25 right here. This is equal to 25. And just one more step, I can get the y by itself. Y plus 20 is equal to 25. We just need to minus 20 on both sides. And we see that y is equal to 5. But is that the answer? We don't know until we check it. And it's always a good habit, especially when we are dealing with square root equations. So plugging 5 into this y and into that y to see if it will work or not. So this is just going to be a quick check. If y is equal to 5, does it work or not? So square root of y, which is 5, and then we have the plus 4. Do we get the same thing if we plug in y into here? Square root of y, which is 5, and then plus 20, and then minus 2. Alright, so let's work on the left-hand side first. We do the inside out. 5 plus 4, which is 9, and then you take the square root of 9, which is going to be 3. For this right here, we do inside out. 5 plus 20, that's 25, but then we take the square root on this, and then we minus 2. Well, this is what? Square root of 25 is 5, and then minus 2. Do we get the same thing? Do we get the same thing? At this point right here, the last one right here, 3 is equal to 5 minus 2. We can clearly see that 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. So it works. Therefore, we can box this as the answer. Y is equal to 5. It's the solution for this original equation. This is it.